wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Voice our opinion and place the calling. Be yourself, see yourself. This is the show my people. Billies our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, selfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to be obeyed. And all the things that will feel happen and dark and blue skies. I don't think that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Billies, yeah. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Another day is here. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Voice our opinion and place your calling. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play around, get where you need to. You can tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling is the show? No matter even if you're at home. Just call in. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Another day is here. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Voice our opinion and place the calling. Be yourself, see yourself. This is the show my people. Billies our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, selfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to be obeyed. And all the things that will feel happen and dark and blue skies. I don't think that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Billies, yeah. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Another day is here. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Voice our opinion and place the calling.
Good morning, Billies. Welcome to the WUB Wake Up Billies Morning Vibes for today, Monday, the 4th of November, 2024. We hope all is well with you as you rise this morning and get ready for your new day. Of course, as always, we hope that you have great health. It's what matters. Your energy level is high, and of course, your vibration is positive. we're just completely overjoyed that this is where you start your day with us, Creme Radio, XTV. I'm Mose Hyde. I welcome to all who are listening, watching on our apps, social media streams, and those getting us via simulcast coverage. Welcome to your morning house, the WUB, Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. And we start off, as we always do, with looking at the warm-ups before we jump into the main event. And that means we get to open up with what's going on with the news. But before we do that, we've got your weather forecast for you. We can expect over the next 24 hours. And for that, we turn no other place than the National Meteorological Service. We've got forecaster Francisco Wellington to tell us what the weather looks like.
Good morning. Fair conditions prevail and will support mostly sunny skies today and partly cloudy skies tonight. Showers or thunderstorms will be isolated except for a few more over southern coastal areas tonight. In the outlook for Tuesday and Tuesday night, showers or thunderstorms will be isolated. Winds today along the coast and over the open seas will blow from the east and northeast at 5 to 15 knots and seas will be choppy. High tides will occur at 12:10 this afternoon and 11:01 tonight. Low tides follow at 5:01 this evening and 6:40 tomorrow morning. Temperatures this afternoon will peak at 76 Fahrenheit up in the Maya Mountains, 87 along the coast and 91 inland. The moon will rise at 8:35 this morning and sunset is at 5:19 this evening. In the sargassum forecast, sargassum impacts are expected to remain minimal for the next couple of days. In the tropical weather update, at 3 o'clock this morning, tropical storm Pate was about 490 miles east of the Azores. Pate was moving to the east-northeast at 20 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour. At 6 o'clock this morning, potential tropical cyclone 18 was located near 14.8 north, 76.8 west, or about 220 miles south of Kingston, Jamaica. Potential tropical cyclone 18 was moving to the north at 7 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour. And that's the latest from the Belize Weather Bureau. Do have a pleasant day.
The first radio in Belize since 1989. Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
Late Friday, the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, in a very brief statement, notified members of its Executive Council, met with Prime Minister John Briceño, along with the Minister of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform, and Religious Affairs, while the NTUCB only said that several national issues were discussed and that the meeting was amicable and fruitful. The PM on his Facebook page reported that the sides discussed multiple matters. Among them, he listed the OSH bill, representation of the KHMHA Workers' Union on the hospital's board, the Committee for the Special Purpose Vehicle set up to oversee the construction of 2 government office buildings, amending the Finance and Audit Reform Act, installing the Auditor General post, and hiring and appointments in the judiciary. In a recent local media report, it was determined that soldiers operating in remote areas in the south are being bribed by illegal Guatemalan loggers seeking to extract forest produce from the Columbia Forest Reserve. The reports were made against patrol commanders at the Machaquila Observation Outpost, but on Friday, the commandant of the BDF said it is rogue officers and they are investigating.
Let me ask you a question, just to answer your question. Whenever other security forces are operating in the area here, aren't they bribed? You see, we are not immune to these things. The BDF, we are not immune. What we need to continue to do is to supervise, and that is what we are doing. We because of the constant patrolling in that area, we increase our patrols responding to the illegal logging reports that we got. And because of that, we kind of bumped into Guatemalans. The Guatemalans, we have it on recording, and I believe that it has been leaked to the media too as well. That is part of our investigation. And as part of our investigation, we more or less know now that the Guatemalans are bribing our patrol commanders, and that is something that is being finalized, and it will be coming in front of me for disciplinary procedures.
Okay, so do you concede that the reason why BDF soldiers are accepting bribes by Guatemalan loggers is because when they pay too cheap, the government paid them too cheap?
No, the pay is average at this point in time.
But appropriate or average?
It is average. It is appropriate. We can survive. You know, the cost of living is going up, but that is another discussion. But can we survive on that pay? Yes, we could. We could survive. It's more than 1,000 soldiers that are getting pay, and there will be the elements, the bad guys there, that are going to come and try to extort, to bribe. If persons come, bribe, more than there are some that will take it, others that will not. They say, no, I am being taught in my force about the virtues and the values that we espouse.
Yeah.
So all the briberies, the bribes, alleged bribes, it's not everybody is getting bribed. It's only one or two commanders, rogue commanders. And I'm telling you that we are going to look at it disciplinarily.
But I understand that that investigation has been expanded to include other CPs, not only the Massacre Ha.
Yes, and we are looking at other CPs too as well. It is not happening at the other CPs, but it's just as a precautionary measure, and in order for us to supervise properly. No.
Separately, it was also reported that the command on the ground in Machikila decided to release a handful of Guatemalan detainees who had been held for different violations back in September. Information suggests that the decision was taken after they were surrounded by another set of Guatemalans.
No, that is not protocol. The commander has to ensure that he relays the information to his command, to his battalion command, for a decision to be made. I will leave it at there because that is the same situation that is under investigation at this point in time.
Yeah, but then from what I understood in the report I've read is that communication was severed with Fair Weather Camp because the communication could not sync, or they could not communicate the development in that incident back to Fair Weather Camp.
That is under investigation at this point in time. That is all I can say is that they have a primary means of communication, a secondary means of communication, cell phones that work in some parts of the area. Like 200 meters west of the OP, cell phones work. So it is under investigation, and I don't want to compromise it, because that will come in front of me.
Is the communication system at the BDF outdated?
No, we recently got quite an amount of radios from the Kabay funds. So there are brand new radios at all the observation posts.
Soldiers who are parading the field are now being compensated with jungle and bush allowance. Commandant of the Belize Defense Force, Brigadier General Azariel Loria, shared that they have been working on a review regarding salaries and allowances.
It's about a month ago. We got a table that we needed to fill up with information from the Joint Compensation and Classification Committee or unit. That has been done, and our salaries is being reviewed at the moment, and it's not only for the BDF but also for Coast Guard. And also I believe that there were some allowances approved to the air wing pilots and to the whole of the BDF for us to start to draw jungle and bush allowances. So it is something that the government is looking into, and I know that with this with the level of cooperation that we are having from government, it is something very positive that all of us are looking into and seeing the results.
Essentially a pay increase. Is that an adjustment or revision, a pay increase?
No, it's not a pay increase. We're not getting a pay raise. It's only it's an adjustment where we're looking in ways in which our pay scale could be adjusted because of that minimum wage that came into effect.
Motorcyclists lost their lives in separate road traffic accidents Saturday night. The first reportedly occurred near Trail Village in the Toledo district. Investigations revealed that a motorcyclist was traveling on the Thomas Vincent Ramos Highway when he collided with a pickup truck, resulting in his death. Another road traffic accident occurred on the San Felipe Road in the north between yet another cyclist and a vehicle. When police arrived on the scene, they observed the motionless body of one man. Police investigations are ongoing. That's the end of our morning news. We take ourselves a small break. When we come back on the side, showtime, WUB conversation is going to be on the way. This is Creme Radio and XTV. We'll be right back.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. The news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports.
welcome back to the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Mose Hyde in the house with you on this Monday morning, my first November morning with you for 2024. And we want to welcome you all to the house if you're just joining us. And of course, if you've been here from the opening bell, well, that's great. That's how it should be. It's 6:30, you drop, boom, you're here. That's wonderful. Guess what? You know what time it is. Time for us to engage in conversation. I'm your host this morning, and we invite you to join us in conversation. Link with us. Our telephone number is 2805848, and that's not just some kind of toy or some kind of what you would call prop. This is how we do this. We get you on, and that's what we want. Get you on. Hear you. So now wait. Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. That's what it's about. We, in the meantime, while you either kind of boxed in with your morning routine or you make up your mind, which we hope you make it up fast. You know, you only have this 2 hours to maneuver where you're able to get in on the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. We proceed with conversation. It's been, unfortunately, a standard Monday morning feature that we report on motorcycle deaths, and unfortunately we report on motorcycle deaths this morning in our morning news brief. And so we, of course, send our condolences to the family, and we only highlight it to say that the problem remains. I think we finally, and I think it was actually out of not something that was really organized, it was more or less the media pressing one of the representative from a related relevant agency or authority on this matter, and we heard certain things that they're trying to do, but no, we've not really gotten any kind of real sense that people whose job it is to see how they're going to address this stuff have really come together and have presented us with what the game plan is. In the meantime, we do have a role, and we keep reminding those who listen, who watch, who use motorbikes. I was at a store somewhere last week that sells these motorbikes, and it's like it was about 7 or 8 people gathering where the motorbikes are displayed, looking at it. So this remains, and is only going to become more and more. Like, people might be watching the news, but generally know how human beings go. It not be me. I know how to ride. I know I do nothing silly. But unfortunately, a motorbike has built-in risk. So we have to do our part. And our part is to say to you, guess what? You've chosen to use a motorbike. We understand the reasons why, more or less, why people use it. A lot of it has to do with the economic value of using it. Understand it's more dangerous than other means of transportation. And so you have to take responsibility for your own well-being. Unfortunately, I don't see where there's a very organized effort at the leadership level. So you, the rider, you, the motorbike owner and user, you have to be committed that you've chosen this, that you will do everything in your power to be safe. And there are things that are within your power that you control. 1, you control how fast you go. 2, you control whether or not you're going to be on that bike with more than the allotted number of passengers. 3, you can go online. We go online for every manner of thing. You can go online to find out what are some of the basic standard motorbike handling skills that you need to develop. So you can do that, become a better, safer rider. And of course, you choose whether or not you're going to be on that bike after taking a beer or 2 or drinks, whatever, alcoholic drinks. You choose. That's the power that you have. So you need to ultimately take that responsibility, be a safe rider. Doesn't eliminate the risk. It lowers it a bit, puts you in a better position. That's all we'll say on that matter this morning. Unfortunately, that's where we had to begin. Because losing lives should always be a thing where we losing lives in avoidably, in avoidable situations, is something that we should have a kind of response to. And to be honest, the response leaves a lot to be desired. That's why on Monday mornings we read the news and the problem continues. Another part of our morning news today featured the matter of BDF outposts in Machakila. How many people have been to Machakila who are listening or watching right now? I would say very few. Very few. If there's anybody that's been to Machakila that's listening or watching, call us. I think if we find one person who's been, I have not been to Machakila. I've heard the name. I know you're in the middle of nowhere in Toledo. Columbia Reserve, and we know it's an outpost. And so the Columbia Reserve is obviously, like so many parts of our country, it's blessed with, as the anthem says, wealth untold. And it's been plagued by various means of incursions, especially coming out of our neighbors to the west, Guatemala. And so we have an outpost to try to discourage, and in fact, months ago it was Wilmer here who reported first that there are some issues down there, and that the BDF personnel that's there is being bribed. So coming out over this weekend, we're reporting on what the BDF commandant has confirmed and reporting based on confirmed evidence that this is going on. This is not a small thing, right? It's not a small thing. Even if it happened in a place where none of we ever gone, none of we going on vacation, none of we might ever see. Very few people want ever go to Machakila and chill out and have a good weekend stay. It's not Placencia. It's not Kikaka, right? So, you might say, oh, well, what does that have to do with me on this Monday morning? Well, it has a lot. And the well-being of our security personnel is a matter of the highest priority, as well as the performance of said security people. It should be something that is of the highest priority. And you know, you listen to this story and you understand that there are multiple things going on here, and that, as with anything, the corrosive power of money is always going to be a reality in all different layers and levels of the society. But we have a call. Krem, good morning, WB. Good morning. Good morning. Hello? Hello? All right, we're not hearing you. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think my volume was not up. Oh, that's a better volume. But I still should have heard you. All right. So if you don't mind, caller, you can try it again, and let's see if we can work it out, because that's what we want. Call us. Again, the number is 280-5848. Maybe there was somebody who's going to tell us that they've been to Machakila. Only a place I've heard about it. And maybe only if Will there, we're going to have somebody that's been to or maybe somebody who's been in the BDF. All right, so that caller called me one time and then faked me out. Okay, so the point that I was really coming to on this matter is, one, I just to emphasize that this is not some small matter. And because, unfortunately, the people with the biggest money operating in these spaces, in areas of USA that are not very populated. Illegal loggers are, not the highest level of rogue behavior taking place, that's occurring in these places. So that should be something that we should be very concerned about. And again, this is not a BDF problem about, the power of money. WUB, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
G. McCree here, no?
Yes, sir.
I'm following that story, and actually I heard about that a week or two ago when they surrounded the soldiers. But I'd have to ask, what would you suggest they have done, and what would you have done in that situation?
So I'm wasn't going to really spend a lot of time talking about the fact that the BDF were surrounded and their choice to surrender. That was not going to be the main issue. I was going to more deal with the fact that the report of the commanders on the ground taking bribes to allow the illegal logging to go on, and the fact that is something that we should all focus on. Insofar as being outnumbered, if you're outnumbered, you're outnumbered. And
why would you use the word surrender, though?
What's that?
Why would you use the word surrender?
Well,
you said they surrendered.
They surrendered the people that they had detained. So they had people.
They gave up.
They had people who were there.
I think it was a discreet move. I would not want to be in that position, or anybody that I know to be in that position.
So since I think maybe you were, you thought that I was going down a lane that I was not going down, but as far as something like that, my thing is that I have to hold responsible the structure of their deployment, because I don't know if you have ever read The Art of War. Many people have, but the fundamental principle of The Art of War is that you want to win a battle without fighting. And the way you do that is by...
win a battle without what? I didn't get that.
To win a battle without fighting.
Okay, good. Yeah.
That is the ultimate victory. Right? It's on, I think, it's the first 2 pages of The Art of War. It says, this is what we want to do. And we want to win because we are so organized and we are so impressive in the way we are structured and the numbers that we have, that it discourages an opponent or an enemy to engage us. And so if we have, I don't know what the size of the deployment is, but the fact that they could have been outnumbered means that we have to reconsider whatever that number is, because indeed, if we are rogue and we realize, oh, this deployment here have 6 people, and it's about 30 or 40 already operating at this space, then we will feel comfortable in bringing aggression to that entity, especially if this outpost is it's not like they can call in support from the air, or there is a major base maybe 25 miles away from here, and within a half hour they're going to be here. So there is obviously a need for the people who are trained in this to reevaluate how they can structure their deployment in such a way to have control and to make it more safe for the officers who are in the middle of nowhere, really.
But yeah, that is something, because I think that there's a wider picture there. You're looking at that from that isolated incident. But what can happen after that? Should you know that could spark a situation and have us in a dire strait? and because you don't want to accept this situation that exists as is. And yes, we do. They have a claim on us.
So you know what? So G Mike, if we extend that argument to its fullest, then it would seem you're suggesting that, well, why don't just let them make them carry the wood? Like, we don't want it ourselves, so let's load it.
Not at all. You can't be one or the other. Then you don't have to be saying. So that's not what I'm saying.
So the world doesn't operate according to where we want it to be, right? So these individuals, unfortunately, who are operating in this space have shown the evidence that they are rogue enough to employ various means to get what they want. So they're a problem. These are not little meek and mild operatives that are in this place. And so you do have to make a decision here. It's the decision they made to detain was a very responsible one. The fact that the response of the people there was then to bring aggression means that you have to now look at how you can essentially discourage such behavior by showing organization and showing force. But you do so, in my view, by increasing the numbers and by working out how you can essentially support in such a way that individuals who might consider this have a consciousness that, okay, if I do that, this is what is going to happen. So it's really the point is that no, sir, I don't advocate that we should go wild west. What I advocate for is that to the best of our means and resources, that we are intelligent in the way that we are structured, that we give it that we treat it with a high priority, and that we are not just ticking the box and have 3 or 4 people in the middle of nowhere and expect that that's going to be a deterrence enough. That's just not the way it's going to work.
Level of perception, though. You might just be perceiving that you put yourself in that position when really what you're saying is happening, that we're doing the best we can within our resources, and a big part of it is diplomacy. They do spy out letters every time you see that happening. I mean, what more should we, the only thing we can do is accost them. So I mean, say, you know what, all right, we're done with this, man, we tired on it, but we'll shoot on 340. Would it end there?
But again, you are suggesting about going wild west. I have not. So
that is what this is presenting, Mose. The possibility of this happening without even wanting it to happen.
But we have not quite. Sir, well, okay, I hear you, and I will. Okay, you finish?
Yeah, man. Yeah, what? Yeah, no worries. Have a nice day.
Okay, sir. All right. So that's obviously another matter that has to be considered and an important part. I really want you to look at the fact that so they have used aggression, and that's one thing. They've also used financial means. They've also, they use the carrot and the stick. We could give you more money and make you look the other way, or if you go the other way and want to be principled about it, then we're going to crowd you. And so I was really looking at the fact that, unfortunately, some of our personnel seems to have, looked the other way, which again, this is not unique to the BDF. People get bribed. Highest levels of society, we get bribed. So it's not about saying, okay, how could they, why would they, and all of that. It's to say, listen, okay, what creates a situation where, if you think that you've been left by yourself, if you are operating in a space where you feel like, well, nobody really cares anyway, you would want to hope that people are going to still be outstanding. Human nature is human nature. I have a call. Krem, good morning. WB.
Morning, Mose. Groove.
Yes, brother.
Hope you're having a good Monday. And I hate to jump on your show, but I completely agree with what you are saying, because for years I've been advocating on our show too that the armed forces need to get better pay. They need to have better benefits. We need to take BDF from out of Ladyville because that get put there when years ago. We need to station the people along the border. So like you said, it give the people where they come in one deterrent. We shouldn't go because we need to open up back the whole area back. They put some roads and things so that when the BDF when you put 3 soldiers, the guard on border, that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense because I would have to show the Guatemalans is that our resistance meek and mild. I not got no teeth. So we just need to get our soldiers out of Ladyville and make our outposts along that area back there. That's all I want to throw in for the show, Papa. Respect you.
I'll give thanks, Groove. Always good hearing from you, brother. Check the morning stew. Check the morning stew right after WB on both Creme Radio and XTV. The best morning experience there is. Respect. Telephone number is 280-5848. This is the WB. Mose Hyde hosting this morning. So just, you know, last week I said, you know, your resume matters, right? Your resume make people decide whether or not somebody is for the job or they're not for the job. People do change, people do improve, and we congratulate them when they become better version of themselves. That's what we want. That's what we're all trying to do. And that's what we all should be trying to do. Get a better version of ourselves, the best possible one. Search for it, build it, dig it, create it, work hard for it. So it's not that people don't get better at what they're doing, but your resume is still very informing. And so the assumption that we would want to have is that, well, as suggested by the previous callers, that it's possible that we are doing the best that we can do. Of course, that's always what we hope, and that's always a possibility. But we have this unfortunate thing of the resume, which is your record. And the record says, well, that's not usually what happens with us. Case in point, there had to be a lot of fight to get a forward operating base on the Sarstone. Like a no-brainer that this is your southernmost point of your country. This is where you have your border, that you need to have presence. It took non-authority people advocating, crying out, challenging, railing up before that was even done. Case in point, the border crossing at Halakte. There was once a time when there was not even a building structure there to say this is where you come in and this is where you go out of the country. That's one part of the country that I did a visit, and people were just literally walking across a creek back and forth between the two countries where we're supposed to. And it's out again, out of a real push, we ended up doing the right thing. Chicky Bull, again, it took a young man's death for there to be the level of seriousness, and then the eventual creating of a physical outpost in the Chicky Bull. So the resume points to the fact that we've been guilty of negligence. And we cannot pretend, play like that not there, like your record not there. Because it's there. What would seem logical, that we should have standard things in place, that's what nations do. This is an area where we don't have presence. We have vast territory. It's adjacent to a border. It has a lot of resources. We have to be present there in a structured way, in a way that discourages, because we have rules here. We have a place where we have laws, and we have designated this area as a reserve. let's man talk about how we get there. You know, before, you know, I don't know who advocated how it happened, but this is just a huge reserve. And we're saying that this reserve critical, we want to take care of what they are, we don't want to cut down the trees, we don't want to do this, we don't want to touch the wildlife, we have to, it's rich, we want to protect it. Similarly, the Columbia Reserve. So, let me take the call. Clem, good morning, WUB.
And good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Great friend, Brother Mose.
Good morning, the great Torres.
Oh, thank you, Level High. What? You are your lead, Yes, good subject. But you know, I am waiting to hear the results from the ICJ. And me personally, Ernesto Torres, feels or will feel very much relief, like my friend here. He will be able, he loves his belief so much that he risks his life against these monsters. So, yes, congratulations to him. Why I feel relieved is because it is my feelings, okay, not knowledge, with the understanding I get from people. I learn every day because I love to listen. Yes, that when we get that legal pronouncement that we must do the border together, all right, and respect the land from these people, I feel relieved because I strongly feel and believe that we should not, would say, prepare ourselves for war with these people.
But a tourist,
allow me just one more.
But a tourist,
secure our border. One more.
But a tourist.
Can you take over the rest from Brother Mose, please?
No. I don't care the
I
rest.
don't got this privilege every day. I feel secure because you know what? I was made to understand that the British have interest in the territory, so you can protect the territory. Go ahead, Brother Mose.
But a tourist,
yes, sir.
I push back because putting in place your standard presence to look after your property is not an act of aggression. It's not the act of confrontation. It's not the declaration of war. It must be made abundantly clear that what we're advocating for is not aggression. It's a common sense, intelligent, normal part of being in the possession of a nation state that you look after that interest. You have a yard. It's very likely you have certain things in place to make sure. That doesn't mean that your house has, that at your house you have grenade launchers, AR-15s, and maybe 10, 15 Rottweilers. It doesn't mean you have that because you don't have the resources for that, and you don't want. That's not what you want. You don't want to live in like a prison, but you have standard things to say. Listen, this is my yard. I respect your yard, and this is my yard. I have to take care of my yard. So there's certain things where are left right out in the middle of your yard because like somebody might want to come take it. So there's certain things you lock up in your house. I'm sure that when you leave your house, you're going to lock on your door. I assume. Yes. Right? That some people you can't trust. People say there was once a time when you don't even have to lock your door. That's a beautiful thing to consider to have lived, and some people still live like that. Either one. You have some villages where some people say you have to lock your door. That's listen. That's wonderful. But listen to me. Most places, when you left your yard, you lock your door. Most people, though they wish they never have to spend the extra money on it, right? Especially with the cost of steel and all of that right now, they still realize, you know what? I still have to put, I build my house, I have to put the burglar bars. That are next couple $1,000 for deal with, but you understand, I have to do it, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's not that you don't have people where could rip off your burglar. People have become very skilled at doing that. But it's the best level of deterrence where you could have. So when we ask for, and we can't make the assumption, again, I not do an evaluation of the Machakila site. I don't know what the deployment is. What my comments are based on is based on the fact that I know our resume, I know what our record is, and our record is a record of carelessness and negligence, brother. And because I'm aware of this, I am saying here, listen, before we get up and jump and say, listen, what's wrong with our officers? And of course, they have to be held accountable for whatever choice that has been made. But that's not the only part of the response. The response has to be collectively. We have to decide. We have to say, listen, Matakila Post matters to me, even though I don't live in Toledo, even though I will never visit the Columbia River Reserve. It doesn't matter how far you live away from there if you ever go there. It's a priority that we have to collectively agree that it matters.
I'm with you. Right? You know how I class it as? Brother Mose, I know I might run out of credit.
Yes, sir.
Try that $5 affair. All right. In order for me, in order to follow respect, as you said just now, there should be, or must be in jail, there must be mutual understanding. You said the key word, understanding. Mutual understanding. You know for do this to me, I know for do that to you. Make we live in harmony as good neighbors. Make I could go sleep in bed and go sleep, and I know that I left my door open and the windows wide up so that breeze could come in because of the heat. That's what mutual understanding means. Then that's some respect come in. We for care for each other. We for care for each other. But that does not mean that you load the state with for you people then. We must cut that down because volume, they affect the world to the day. Too much to feed, too much infrastructure to deal with. Brother Mose, thanks very much.
All right,
God bless you.
Thanks. All right. This is Wake Up Billy's Morning Vibes. It's about 24 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday morning, the 4th day of November, 2024. We're going to take our break. We go to 2 Cents Scam, sponsored by 4 Point Security. And then we go to our first ad break of the morning. When we come back, we continue the conversation. We hope that you will have sorted out your schedule so that you can spend a little time with us, make that call, jump in, and give us your thoughts. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to the WB WUB Morning Vibes. Mose, Hyde in the house with you on this Monday morning, the 4th of November 2024. And our telephone number is 280-5848. We spent a little time forced to give our best guidance to motorbike owners. Started off the morning with that. And then we engaged on this story in our news about bribery in Machikila, which again first brought to the attention, at least to my knowledge, by Wilma here about the problem that exists down there. And we've kind of tried to make it clear that there's some important considerations here. First of all, that it's an important matter. It's an important national matter. And hearing from I just want to just replay the clip of the BDF commandant. Can you give me the first clip, Christy, where he speaks about bribery for everyone that's new of that clip? If we can just air that clip, and so we can know, people who are just joining us know what we are talking about. As I mentioned, we don't, very few of us, if anybody listening or watching right now, have ever been to Machikila Outpost or know where it is. For that matter, been inside the Columbia Reserve, know where it is. In fact, unfortunately, we have a good number of people who have not gone to Toledo before, much less to some remote part. And so it's very easy for us to think, well, the only part of the story is that some officers have been bribed, and, you know, bribery happens, right? You're going to have some people who are going to succumb to bribe, and we know that you know, we know that there are certain things that make it more likely. So it's, you know, thinking about, well, you know, is there a problem? What is the level of compensation and benefits and all that? What's the morale? Low morale, people are more easily bribed. Higher morale, higher collective morale, then people are going to perform better. But it still doesn't eliminate it, because that's just the power, the corrosive power of an offer for money. So we're not here going to preoccupy ourselves that we know that what has been said by the commandant is that they're looking into it and people will be held accountable. Okay. But we as a people have to be conscious of the importance of what's going on there. And we also have to hold the entire security apparatus, the leadership of the BDF, the government of Belize. We have to say, well, are you doing your best here? And we feel that we have every right to ask and to demand a level of accountability, because we are informed by the track record where we have not been consistently, we have not been good at paying attention, of being the best possible version of ourselves when it comes to standard protecting of sovereignty. That, if we are to be honest, we will say, listen, that enough for we strength, right? So I play this clip, and for those who might have missed it, and then I'll come back. So let's play the clip, courtesy of XTV News.
Let me ask you a question, just to answer your question. Whenever other security forces are operating in the area here, aren't they bribed? You see, we are not immune to these things. The BDF, we are not immune. What we need to continue to do is to supervise, and that is what we are doing. We because of the constant patrolling in that area, we increase our patrols, responding to the illegal logging reports that we got. And because of that, we kind of bumped into into Guatemalans. The Guatemalans, we have it on recording, and I believe that it has been leaked to the media too as well. That is part of our investigation. And as part of our investigation, we more or less know now that the Guatemalans are bribing our patrol commanders, and that is something that is being finalized, and it will be coming in front of me for disciplinary procedures.
Okay, so do you concede that the reason why BDF soldiers are accepting bribes by Guatemalan loggers is because when they pay too cheap, the government paid them too cheap?
No, the pay is average at this point in time.
But appropriate or average?
It is average. It is appropriate. We can survive. You know, the cost of living is going up, but that is another discussion. But can we survive on that pay? Yes, we could. We could survive. It's more than 1,000 soldiers that are getting pay, and there will be the elements, the bad guys there, that are going to come and try to extort, to bribe. If persons come, bribe, more than there are some that will take it, others that will not. They say, no, I am being taught in my force about the virtues and the values that we espouse.
Yeah.
So all the briberies, the bribes, alleged bribes, it's not everybody is getting bribed. It's only one or two commanders, rogue commanders. And I'm telling you that we are going to look at it disciplinarily.
But I understand that that investigation has been expanded to include other CPs, not only the Machakaha.
Yes, and we are looking at other CPs too as well. It is not happening at the other CPs, but it's just as a precautionary measure, and in order for us to supervise properly.
So, kind of to make you get a background to what we've kind of been talking about this morning inside the WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. And again, your thoughts on none of their matter are invited at 280-5848. So, we understand, and that's the natural thing to do. There's going to be an investigation, and that's what we're hearing from the commandant of the BDF, and that people will be held accountable. Our part of it is that we have decided to protect these areas, right? These are immensely valuable parts of the country, like immensely valuable. And I'm talking here about the Columbia Reserve, in Chiquibol. These are areas which are national jewels, right? And they're valuable to us on a daily basis. One, if you look at Chiquibol, we know that there will water come from. So, right away. And water is the new gold. So, if you look at Columbia Reserve, you look at Chiquibol, the water that is there, just the water alone. We don't even talk about everything else. We don't talk about the value of the land. We don't talk about the resources with it. We don't talk about the timber. Like, we decide we're going to protect these areas. And they're essentially protected from most Belizeans participating in any kind of economic activity in these areas, right? Even though there's value there. You got people who, who hunt. You got people who are into logging. You got people who are, into farming. You have people who could utilize this space for the value that it is, but we have accepted that those kind of activities will be controlled and for the most part prevented in this area. That's what we've done. And these areas are adjacent to the border. So what is expected from the state is that the state then is going to show the value that it has in these areas. But we have a call. Quem, good morning.
Good morning, Brother Mose.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Belize. Brother Mose, the influence here from the Public Service Union.
Good morning, my brother.
Very important topic this morning, Mose, and I just want to contribute a little bit and more so from the human resource standpoint in terms of what's happening within the BDF, and more importantly, what's happening at these outposts. I took a visit to Toledo to visit with public officers in that region. I was subsequently invited to stay the overnight so that I can visit with public officers at the Halakte border, the Baja personnel, the immigration, the customs, and they took me all the way to treetop to meet with the PDF and the police officers there. It is unfortunate that the media has not perhaps recently taken a tour of what's happening at these outposts, and more so at the facilities that is provided for our soldiers. It's a damn shame and disgrace what our soldiers are going through, and in no way I am going to justify or try to justify why they may be accepting bribe. But Mr. Luria needs to be held accountable. Honorable Florencio Morin, who himself was a former soldier. Honorable Oscar Mira, who himself was a soldier. The CEO, what's his name was? The CEO, these are three former soldiers. His name is eluding me right now. Tapia, he was at the commandant. Mose, these brothers don't even have drinking water, brother. These brothers don't have anything to eat, brother. The ration has been slashed. The commanding officers then tell you, they're doing them balea, so bring like chicken, and then think the poor soldiers, man. I don't even know how to put it in words, my brother.
Dean, but Dean, just so that people might have not missed your introduction, just so they know, this is the president of the Public Service Union, Brother Dean Flowers, and again, we need to repeat that. We need to not repeat, but we need to just make it clear that the BDF soldiers, this is something you did outside of what would be your core responsibility at the PSU, that you're reporting on the situation as it exists from the well-being of these officers, because these are not necessarily your members, but this is just as somebody who is concerned overall about the quality of conditions, like this is unacceptable, right?
Oh, exactly, Mose. That's it right there. Excellent summary. You know, it's like I said, it would appear, when I spoke with these officers, you could see in the fear in them, and it was like, brother, nobody speak up for us, and we can't even speak up for ourselves. The barracks in Punta Gorda itself, the officers will tell you that the sewages aren't working, the showers, the brother then tell me, brother, I prefer not to be it. As a matter of fact, I prefer to be out here in the jungle, they suffer than to go back in the barracks, brother, because the morass, man, the living conditions, what is wrong with Oscar Mira, what is wrong with Florence Marine, and what is wrong with Dario Tapia? They sit at the helm of this organization, brother, and I don't know, they live in castles, and then they drive up and this the whole treat on the soldiers, brother, shame on and I challenge the media to visit those facilities across this country, man. Do a tour of those facilities, and if they have nothing to shine, allow the media to go in and see what, and go out in at the outpost. But during the fireman, they have to carry water. No, man, I believe what I'm saying is that we have to do better how we treat with human resources, especially with BDF officers. They're demoralized, and of course, if I am not being even given a sensible ration, I have to figure it out. And so, no excuse if in fact they're taking bribes, the commanding, but brother, and I want to give respect to the head of those units as well, because they speak up, they spoke with me, and they express how they feel about how they when soldiers they go through. But when the pain was in my heart, brother, that the young soldiers they out there, brethren can't even get water. The people that go across the border and they bring water for them and bring everything for them. So because the three people who are former senior officers who now occupy the most three powerful positions in the military are more concerned with building streets in the case of the area of Belmopan. I don't know what the area of Corozal is more concerned about, and I know what but none of them are concerned about the welfare of the soldiers. And like I said to the officers then, we don't bargain for you all, but at some point, brother, I have to decide how to address this. And it cannot be that you will always say yourself, well, as preachers of others. Brethren, if your welfare is being affected, you have to organize. You have to organize and say, we're not doing the same thing here, but we're saying this is not the way how you treat your soldiers. Basic food, and a call from the government, I believe, to please, an investigation needs to be carried out in terms of the treatment, because it is inhumane what we're putting our officers through.
Well,
I leave it at that for this morning.
I think, Dean, the people you identify, the state has a duty, but collectively, we all have a duty to care and to be concerned, because where you have people who, because of the circles, this is similar with the police. The police has the police association. I don't know what the BDF soldiers have, but they are in a system where they are confined to the traditions of military, and because of that, this is a situation where the community, we all, the public, has to be very sensitive to any report that our officers of the BDF are not being treated in a manner that is, we would want for them to get, the maximum possible benefits. These are people who have signed on to be prepared to lay down their life in defense of the security of the state of the country. So let us understand that this is different from every other profession that we have. The soldier has taken up a lane, taken up a profession, which is not your 9-to-5 job of, okay, they have to agree that they will die. They will lose their life or kill to defend the interest and property and the well-being of the nation state of Belize, everything within. So whether or not you have one BDF in your family, whether or not you have a friend that is a BDF, whether or not you think that we BDF, that as some people view them, this are the weakest army in the whole world. Let us say it is the weakest, least equipped military in the whole world. Let us say that only 1,000 of them. What is not different from all other militaries on planet Earth is that those men and women have chosen a lane where their very life is a part of the contract that they have signed. Yeah. And when you understand that, fundamentally you should have just a elevated level of reverence for those who are doing that. And the fact that they have this situation in a place that many of us will never visit does not dilute the seriousness of this story, and that just as you have done, we hold accountable the people in power who are tasked with ensuring that the morale and that the well-being and that the environment in which they are serving is to the best that we can afford. And that is not to justify bribery, being bribed or whatever. If like to my mind, it's like if you, it's better an officer come forward, resign, and say, we do not accept the conditions. Like that would be a better way to deal with it.
Yeah.
But human nature is human nature. It is not a. It is the first thing that comes to my mind is not to see well the judgment of those individuals. What should be your first interest is to say, wait, hold up, what's going on here? Are we doing our best here? What are the circumstances that are there on the ground? Because we are informed by the resume and the record of the state to be on top of and to being the best version of itself when it comes to safeguarding the sovereignty of the country. We know that we had to quarrel to have a forward operating base in Saskatoon. We had to quarrel about the conditions and the bill of that basic condition of that base. We had to argue for a base in Chickibul. We had to, the only time that became something that happened was in the aftermath of a young man losing his life at Karakol. So the track record shows us that we tend to negligence, that we lean towards being dilapidated, we lean towards being completely inadequate, and we lean towards not treating people properly. And so, even without the details that you have shared there, Dean, our position is that this is a moment that we collectively become extremely engaged. That where they go on here, what are the state of our people in the BDF, what are the morale, what are especially those who are being deployed into areas that are remote. We need to care. Like that first thing we have to do. We have to care. And then we have to hold accountable, because the soldiers are limited in the way they are able to advocate and challenge if the situation is not up to par.
Yeah, certainly, Mose, and I want to also add on, please, that if for those Belizeans who visit those illegal crossings, and I mean, no way again, I'm saying they should or cannot or should not visit it, because he who feels it knows it, and they know why they go these illegal crossings. But if you're able to leave some food items with our soldiers at Treetop, please do so wherever you encounter them, because they are being neglected, and nobody, whosoever is responsible for the welfare, including the minister and everybody under him, are really doing a terrible job in taking care of our soldiers. And most coming out of the soldiers' mouth, brother, where you need to ask them, brother, for our list of the amount of officers who have deserted, man, just to go to the bank, take out one loan, and left this country. Brother, ask them for that report, and I challenge the media to ask Dario Tapia, the CEO or the current Brigadier General, give us the desertation, the deserting rate, the turnover rate of your soldiers, because according to those soldiers, it is very high and it is increasing, that they themselves is now thinking to take the same approach. They go on big loan and roll out. Because, brother, you're on dead in this place and nobody will take care of you. When your officers maybe want to go back that camp, but are supposed to be more human, more humane, and prefer to stay out there and live like people like I said, I'm lost for words this morning with what I saw out there. And what hurts me the most is that the former BDF soldiers, they lead the Ministry of Defense, man. And to see them neglect people like that is really shameful. So please, if for those of you down south or west, wherever on the meet on the BDF there, please give them some ration, because they are really doing bad in terms of the quality of the ration, the type of ration, and the amount they're giving them is really leaves a lot to be desired. So I will let that like that note. I'll see what I can do to shake up things, to bring more attention to cabinet on this matter so that these two ministers can be held accountable for the terrible jobs that they're doing. These same two ministers and CEO who would have now gone to cabinet in the last couple of weeks along with the Minister of Public Service to lobby for availability allowance of $700 for a handful. I don't even know how many pilots we have there. And how often you are called out for a pilot?
So explain that. Dean, just for the record, for those who are hearing and might not understand what you're saying on the matter of the allowance. So you're saying here that there was a lobby for an allowance for a particular part of the BDF, the air wing, but that the allowance being given to regular officers who have to go out into the jungle is not anywhere near that? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. The officers, they get $75 more. When these, and I have ultimate respect, please do not think that I'm coming against the pilots them, but they are only they're giving 700 availability, one other 700 for danger, one other 500 for pilot, $1,900. And this smacks in at the face of the brother then when they out down even they get food, at least you know that are paid and no one again, because I don't even know how good with the like I said, I don't even know what is our asset base when it comes to helicopters and planes. But this reminds me of when the Prime Minister of this country came and said, I want $4,000 a month, one allowance. $4,000 a month when the average public officer, they make $1,500, 70% of what they make between $1,500 and $2,000, and he takes for himself $4,000 a month, and nobody said nothing. And that the same thing now, the selectiveness of who are even in the public service now, brother. It's shameful, and just as a matter of transparency and okay, the Minister of Public Service invited me to a meeting this morning to address some of the concerns that I will have brought to this nation on crime and on non-love, and I will be certain to update my membership how that meetings go, because like I said, Mose, we are on the brink of declaring a trade dispute against the government, I believe, for these type of injustices and these type of policy decisions that have been taken without consultation with the workers' representatives, the only legally registered and recognized workers' representative of this country for public officers. So that is as an update membership. We meet this morning with Henry Charles Ossan, CEO of the TINA, and we will come back to you hopefully on Wednesday night to update you on where we are with this matter and how we proceed forward.
All right, thanks very much for the update and for sharing the information on the visit you made down south. President Dean Flowers of the Public Service Union. We go to break, we will be back. All right, 10 minutes after 8 o'clock. This is the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Mose Hyde, Monday morning, 4th November 2024. And on the line, we have somebody where I think now, because I mean, Hurricane, he got back, he got access back to his favorite show, but I guess he called for say simulator. What's going on? Morning, Calimo. What's going on?
My brother Mose, I was telling you what's going on.
You're in a hug, always saying a creole, you're in a hug heaven, I wish we would go in, sir?
When I was telling you, Mose, I was one of St. Barrow's biggest supporter. I was telling the honest truth. I believe it is. I believe that St. Barrow is a very intelligent fellow.
I don't want you to spend a lot of time on that issue. I just want you to tell the nation that they don't want to hear you a lot on WUB again, because you are no longer persona non grata double China. You are now back in love. You're back in love. You're rough. You're strong. Everything.
I want to tell you something. I am the biggest. I was telling the reason before they believed that China only wanted to be the Prime Minister because he wanted to go back to America.
All right. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to go down there. You could get into that when you call Bell China.
I want to tell you something.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
I am one of his biggest supporters.
I'm not sure that you can convince him of that, Calimo. You have said some very unpleasant things about the brother. But moving on, man. Calimo.
Let me finish our prayer.
Calimo, let's look ahead now. What are we on this morning? What are you talking to me about? I had to ask you whether or not you're there with Trump or Kamala, because I'm not certain.
Well, I'm telling you, there is no way in God's green earth I could ever be with Donald Trump. That's just like being with China Barrow.
Oh boy! I can't get you off about a shine this morning. I just can't. I tried.
I want to discuss, but I want to tell you something about. Glad to bring that up, boss. I want to tell you, I am very afraid of the election tomorrow. I am not going to go to work. I am going to sit down and watch my election just like every American. Tell us something more.
I want to tell my brothers and my sisters and my family members and friends and all our kinfolk, like my sister, all our kinfolk in a Sam, in a Uncle Sam. Where me I tell you? Stay low. No road tomorrow night.
Like, I think I am very afraid of that.
No the outer road, no the dark street, no, if you know, like,
but
especially if you see that that brother know the win. Worse, I'd say Wednesday, stay in. Stay in. Because like you said, you got some boy that will got a gun, you know. Go through, man. Go through. Go through, man. Go through. You're going to point at the smart of you. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, brother, every time I'm going into retirement, you cut me out, so I can't.
Go through, man. No, I hear you and you're right. I agree.
Well, brother, Mose, I live a young life, and I've seen a white man get black, a black man get white. I have seen some scary things happen in America. I have seen a COVID epidemic hit America. I've never seen this. When the country where we normally believe are the smartest people in the world, I have realized that they're not so bright. But I have never been afraid more that the end is there. And I had a good friend of mine named Mr. Lincoln Burgess, right on Hyde Road. He used to tell me, look, let me tell you something. The day the world is going to end, it's not going to be because of Israel. It's going to happen in America. And I am very afraid that this one words are coming to fruition. Because I want to tell you something. They don't have nobody with more guns than a white man. And I want to tell you, I would never believe that America would have lost Trump because he's a New Yorker. But when you got these guys from the great old state of Alabama, Mississippi, and then way down their country, these guys got a lot of guns. I want to tell you a lot of guns. They got bombs. They got bunkers where they live because they are preparing for this. And I am very afraid that the end is there, but I hope it's not so. I hope I don't do my group for this morning. But I want to tell you, Brother Bull, you know that they have also popped up with what TV scared, frightened, afraid, you know, because everybody they take this thing too serious. And I want to tell you, guys, it's amazing to watch the country that we look up to a lot of times. A lot of ways I grew up listening to the USA, the movies, and USA beat everybody, and USA was the hero. I did not know at the end of the day that these were the villains. I thought the Indians in America was the bad guy until I got old enough to realize he was not the bad guy. It's the white guy was the bad guy. Oh my God, boy. But I was telling you, I hope it goes well. I really do hope it goes well. And I was telling you, it's scary that we literally watching it live on TV. How a country could last its way by having an orange president like that. I'm literally watching and with fear that, you know what, this could be the end. This is, you don't believe it, so look, why you like Trump? Everything you watch TV, that's Trump. If I did not follow the file and write down everybody and say, you must love Trump, why you watch the news every day? I say, boy, this scary, this man is one of the biggest, you know what? This is the most important election of your life. Well,
I think if I may just be allowed to agree with you that your sense of fear is very rational and wise. It is a very tense moment in the most powerful country on earth. And so even though we are not from there, we don't live there, it's still, we have people who live there that we care about. And indeed, the implications for any kind of significant instability in this mighty nation are not good. And so we hope that they are able to go through their election process without it melting down into serious situation. And somebody said, well, no, that doesn't happen. This is the United States. I think the point you are saying is that you can't ever say that. You can't say, well, this country can go in a very dark place very quickly, because indeed, if you spend any time listening to what these people are saying and saying to each other, it's a very, very intense moment that they're going to go through over the next 48 hours.
More. That's only that. More.
Because you know that boy will highlight win like around 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
He has shoot the gun first.
Yeah, he has shoot the gun first. Yeah.
Listen, we don't know this. We don't see the playbook, boy. This is what's scary about it, that we have already started the playbook. Hello?
Yes, you're on, Colin Moore. You can be quiet, so.
Playbook board. Now it's being perfected, and I want to tell you something. This is not the first election we've gone south. I mean, Goran both gone south before, but I will tell you something. This is the first one where there is no voice of reasoning. There is nobody saying, wait, hold up, stop. You cannot do that. That is, you gone too far. There is no voice of reasoning over there. I mean, these people, the church was, when your religious power, shall have God sent some today, that's why the bullet over hit in the head. But I'm scary, I'm fighting, because if you could get the church to follow the devil, man, then what is wrong with the world today? I am very afraid, Mose, and I hope it doesn't go that way, Mose, but I'll tell you something. If I had a bunker in Belize, I would have been in that, loaded up, locked and loaded, because you know what the whole thing is? If America has a sneezes, we get that whole area is believed. And the fact that, you know...
So you wish you had a bunker today?
We went from a nation, America went from a nation of where they were respected. Maybe not everybody respect them. But their president made them the laughing stock of the world. I mean, literally, the laughing stock of the world. Like, seriously, what Americans could have talk to me one time and tell me, well, you know, this is wrong and this is that. You cannot do that anymore. If you elected that idiot to have president, you can't talk long to me no more. Because if you could have elected that idiot to have president, man, you know got no sense to go for telling me what's right or wrong. So what is wrong with you? Why you not your president? And you want to tell me how to rule my country? Why you got to get the least of these vote out there. You know?
So you got relatives that states, Cullimore?
I got a lot of relatives that states. I don't really care about that. I don't have no respect for, but there is a few that I really love.
Okay, you got any relatives that states were send things for you?
Well, I will tell you, yes, I do.
Okay, so I say your advice to those relatives where you have a good relationship with, and I hope you got the same advice for even your relatives who you don't have a good relationship with. Your advice to them, have you shared any advice with them or to them? Or?
Well, I share the same advice that you share. After Tuesday, when you move from, look, keep your eye open, and if you have the opportunity to back that thing you do, and just keep yourself, and if anything you have to start fire to because this thing might get scary. I hope it doesn't dead. America has a funny way of always coming back and coming together and rally around the right. And I hope this is it. I hope they will set precedent. They will be. I mean, you imagine more. America likes telling the world that he is a country of freedoms and rights and serve. India had a female president 65 years ago. Mexico just beat them on that. I had a female president. So the world, I thought Hillary was a racist, but the world wasn't really Hillary. So when we ran our rich guy like that guy, But I am scared, boys. I am definitely worried. I watch.
And you're not man, we're fearful, you're not man, we're afraid much, so...
No, but this is scary, boys, because you're literally watching the guy tell you what he's gonna do.
Alright, so make sure you call me. Make sure you call. Cullimore, make sure you call me Wednesday morning. Make we talk about the situation. Make we talk about the situation Wednesday. Yes, sir.
Even though I never let this effect talk about where I want to talk about now, now I'm going to marry this station.
Yes.
I hope they don't put me off because I told them they put me off too because I'm going to blast them too by everybody. And then on the yesterday.
All right. You want to work it out. Yeah. You want to work it out. All right. This is WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. A little bit of a diversion there, but that's Cullimore. And, it's the only time I'm okay with second place with Cullimore. Yeah, a little bit of Cullimore is good enough, right? The man always bring a vibe or energy or different kind of spirit. Our telephone number is 280-5848, and I just know that it's whether we like it or not, whether we care or not. When the empire chooses its emperor or empress, as it's going to work all this time, it's quite a thing, no? And that takes place tomorrow, of course, the elections in the United States of America. We spent this morning, and I really am thankful that the president of the Public Service Union called in to kind of just put some facts into the room. Where well, we have a call. Krem, good morning, WUB.
Yes, morning, Mose.
Wilmer here.
Yes.
Have you been to Machakila?
Yes, of course. I walk. I tell you what, me and my brother from San Jose, we walk from San Jose across the Maya Divine, and again with Sharon Matola, Alana Lakshmana lady, the one from the Belize who passed away. R.I.P. Sharon. Yeah, we go back there over the divide and come out the Caracol. For PG. By foot. No helicopter.
Oh wow.
By foot.
That's quite a journey, bro.
Yeah, man, and Sharon Matola,
Respect.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that one excursion, you know, the carry iPhone, I could make you know that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm assisting yeah. I got a big show on sticks.
They got a Machakila?
They got close. They got when they call to they got Edward Central.
But they don't got a Machakila.
But they got within 2 miles of Machakila.
They got a Machakila then. I want to give them Machakila.
Yeah, Gane and 6. And my brother 6, he watch that. That man could be alcalde San Jose, man.
Okay.
Because you know the man may take the Belize City man, yeah, but when the man they had a great when name, what Englishman name. And after Yaya walk that grade with the she back, the Maya man they said no, never again will call this Grady Hill or something like that. This is a Yaya grade, and up to then they still call it Yaya grade. Now a long grade, you know, once you pass it, well then you done there, I'm a
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. Give it the info. This sister Yaya no say nothing.
Yeah.
You hear me the talk about Machakila, and he send all the messages to say, you don't tell me nothing. Yeah, right,
She been there.
All right, big respect, sticks, yeah, man. So tell me something. So we featured in this news the commandant basically speaking about the issue of BDF soldiers being bribed, which is something that you've been reporting on for several months now. This is not new, right?
Right, or years.
I know about the months. I don't know about the years. Right. No, we had the president of the Public Service Union. I don't know if you heard his call.
I heard his call, yes.
What are your thoughts about the conditions that and the quality of the deployment at this outpost, from your point of view, Will?
Yeah, I think, Mose, that I heard the president of Public Service Union and fully in support. And I believe that, I know that when we take a job, and we should take it seriously. And enough thanks to the BDF for being out there day and night, putting their lives on the line and stuff. And we agree to a certain pay. And then that pay, if you find out somebody else to get more pay and you, then maybe you should try get in at that pay grade or so. But one of the things that I have a problem with is that, okay, well, we only get a bit of pay, but you know how much pay you may get before you join the force, right? So you join the force, if your pay get cut, then I have a different situation. And also, I call on every BDF out there. I know that they can get out there and make a lot of noise, and we make noise for them. But they have families. They look like the stevedores. The stevedores have families, so they should not be the only one that go protest at port. The entire family and friends should go out there. So the BDF should not be afraid to let us out here know what is going on back there, because we got them back. We know they can't get up there and call the radio and say, well, we get hot dog today instead of chicken. No, they can't do that, but the family could do that.
Do we have their backs, Will? Like when we say we, I know they talk about you, but do we? I'm speaking about, do we collectively even care? Like, let us be honest. Like, we've heard things, we've heard reports, and it leak out. Maybe you do have a family member might call into the show and say about the kind of gear. I could remember getting calls about, like the gear, the boots, the quality of the equipment and that kind of stuff. Like, do people rally around and know?
Well, I believe, like, my thinking that everything starts from home, right?
Yeah.
That their family members need to be reached out because they also get affected. When the BDF not get treated rightly and he come home maybe in a bad mood, that's as a result of that, because they are talk about it. So we need to support the BDF. All of us out here need to support the BDF. When we hear something, we have to stick our neck out. We have to say something, you know. And I like the better point about saying that if you have some extras and you do by a BDF base or outpost or so, drop your hand a little bit. But I have to tell you, Mose, that I have had instances.
So, for example, will I mean, and again, we are not a pro-American kind of media house. That's not our lane. But there are things where you could look at and compare yourself with, and this is arguably, and I don't even think it's an argument, this is the mightiest country on earth. When you go, this is something that most people, it's about what I call a common experience. When you travel and you're about to board the planes, the first set of people when you're allowed to go up on the plane, the handicap, mothers with small children or whatever, elderly, and the military. Like there is a there is a standard sense that, and then I can tell you this because I have friends who serve in the military abroad. There are multiple places where you go shop, and I have benefited from it because they say, "Yo, come with me," because you want to get 20%. Then go to the Apple store, they get 20%. Once they could show the military ID, they get 20% off. The laptop on my show, like I tell you, you're going military, you want to get a discount. And that is not to say that they don't go without complaints. For example, they have spoken about how well they take care of the soldiers who come back from war, who are injured, who are suffering from different things, PSTD and whatever. But there is an overall consciousness that we have to look out for men and women who give this kind of service to the country. And I think that it's important for us, whatever is the number, is it 1,500, whatever, our attitude towards them, I think we have to all do some soul searching, because more times than not we want disparage, we want to talk bad. We got it. If we are made, I don't nothing can't stop nothing. Da. Listen, it no matter the kind of equipment we they got. It no matter how much of them we got. It no matter that they don't got war tank, they don't got this, they don't got that, blah 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 blah. Every single man or woman will decide to become a BDF, they have signed on to be prepared to lay down their life to protect we and the property where we have in this nation state called Belize. That are the fundamental commitment of a soldier, and it is to be respected and revered.
Yep,
and we have to have that consciousness, and so yes, we have to hold accountable those commanders who have acted the way they have acted. That's a part of it, but we also need to be prepared to be motivated now to say, okay, but what is going on with how people are deployed? What's the reality down on the ground? How do we link with them? How do we take care of them? What is in place in the event that when they are outnumbered and they put their lives at risk and something happens to them? What's in place for the family thereafter? Like, we can't just have one part of the conversation. You understand me, Will?
Right. No, for sure. 100%. Yeah.
And, you know, I think morale, I think that, you know, morale within the force is something that we need to deal with. That, you know, when you talk to the soldiers out there, definitely the morale, sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down. But I could tell you that people who like say we have a weak army or we have a small army, or like, you know, our army is equivalent to, I mean, I don't want to say like it's as big as Guatemala, but we have men in here in our army, in the BDF. I've been with the BDF when I've been on the outside school, and you have some brothers there who say, look, the Guatemalans are not mess with you today. And again, at the end of the day, it comes down to who is the commander of the base, you know. Because they got some commander when you go there, but we don't care if you go there and get shut up or not. We'll chill there. But you have some commander when you go there, they are put get in that boat and they are follow, they are going along with you, and the gaffer could come in and the gaffer now stop you. And they man and guns, you know. So they believe Defense Force soldiers, they are well, they have the heart of the lion, you know. The ones who really want to be out there and defend. So we need to respect that, and you know, there's so much more that we as civilians could do to show support for the BDF and to really build their morale. But when you have this case about these commanders who got bribed, my brother was, how long does it take to investigate this? You know, this happened months ago, and if the press don't keep bringing it back up, it's going to get swept under the rug. These people need to be exposed. Who are these commanders so that it doesn't happen again? We need to be hard on them so that we set the example, and that's one thing we don't want to do in Belize. In fact, instead of setting the example, we are encouraging it by tolerating from the top dogs in government to just like disrespect the Senate committee, disrespect this one and disrespect that one. So then they say, well, we could do this too. You know, I mean, we need to start to respect each other in our country. We need to show support for each other. And when wrong is wrong, we need to call it out and let them punish. So how long it takes to investigate this then? You know, and like you said,
when did you first become aware of what happened?
Months no.
But months could be 50, it could be 2. Like
at least 6 months ago.
Right.
6 months ago.
All right.
Right? How long does it take to investigate this? And they know about this because Mose, when these guys come out of the bush now, you're coming out from one of the most remote area in the country, and the commandant, he goes to the first store and try and change his quetzales into Belize so he could share it up with everybody so nobody can. And tell you facts. Facts. Oftentimes, shop owners are part of me and said, boy, you know, so much quetzal for me. Man, they ask me to change it, and they decide whether it's ethical or not to change this man quetzal, because I know how he got the quetzal. And that's why our guys in San Jose, the territorial volunteers in San Jose, they gone out, they are the ones who exposed that bridge, that they were trying to sweep that under the rug too. Right? This bridge is being built within a kilometer or 2 of the BDF base where they use machinery and trucks to come in, and you are telling me you don't know about that commandment. In fact, I just got maybe a few days ago, with technology these days, satellite imagery that's showing the clearing that's taking place, because only the clear time to milpa and then papito seed where they grow inside the Columbia Forest, which is a protected area. In fact, you spoke earlier about, you know, we protecting it. We get paid to protect it more without the blue bond. We take the blue bond money and say, look, we protect these areas. So we get paid to protect something that we are not fully protecting. You know? And
so the satellite imagery is showing serious levels of...
And they know it, and again, the top dogs, they know it because, you know, and again, from the United States government, who give a brand new Cessna. The only time I see that Cessna flying, that when dignitaries are in a tongue or when they're going somewhere where the road's so bad, like the other day, helicopter dropped in a Coruscant for the opening up of a school where the students can't even go to school because the road is so bad. You know? But again, we'll go back to what Brother Dean was saying to help. I'll tell you, Mose, you know, when we go to Hunting Key or we go to Star Stoot, and to the present minister of the defense credit, I'll give them credit because they answer the call and they would be more welcoming than the last minister. Because you careful there, I remember
run Christmas Day, we carry food and cake and everything. Then get a call from the top dog in a BDF and said, no take that. And as recently as a couple of weeks ago, we tried to give the Belize Coast Guard, to show appreciation for the work that they are doing. And they got called from the top dog in the Coast Guard. No take nothing from the territorial volunteers or no take nothing from women here. Come on, man. I got a farm, I'll go up some oranges or some planting, I carry it up there, and the man is telling no take that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How long does it we need to stay on the case?
But then, again, I show you the point that to what extent you say that this is an ongoing 6-month story, which it's like a journalist kind of took the opportunity to ask the commandant about it, and that commandant about it, and that's how it re-emerges as a new story. Obviously, this is something that is really a back burner issue for them, and our interest and our consistency in staying on top of it has to be questioned. And that's why I say fundamentally we have to realize this. So I opened up talking about this matter this morning. What I find is that we need to understand why this story is important. Like, so much thing if we talk about, I agree. But when it comes to national security, that should always be a matter of high priority. And when we have some story that emerges to demonstrate the kind of cracks that exist and deficiencies, we should have the level of attention and care about that to say, okay, we want to know what happened here. We want to know how to deal with this. We want to know how much people you send a master killer outpost. We want to know what kind of provisions. We want to know what kind of technology would they use, because now you don't need to have one helicopter. You could use drones. All the militaries around the world right now, they use drones. Unfortunately, for more deadly things. We know reach a point where we could use drones for able if we could keep track of what's going on the ground. Like for me, it's like, okay, we want to know that we utilize that. We understand.
We could, but they refuse to use it. We have the technology. They could easily request drones. You could buy drones, that could do this kind of surveillance. But we refuse to use it because we don't want to know the truth. We don't want to expose what's happening in the Chicky Bull, where you have pastures inside the national park and national forest. Same thing in the Columbia. So
because if we can't,
right now,
because really, if we can't protect it, where do you justify the argument that we shouldn't utilize it? If you tell me I can't add to my survival, I can't utilize it for my own well-being, I can't utilize it for my own development, speaking about Belizeans, and you deny me, and I will face legal consequences if I should go into the Chicky Bull and start cutting down trees, going into the Columbia Reserve and start cutting down trees and start do whatever manners the thing, plant this or plant that. If you deny me this, then your responsibility is to make sure that you are doing your best to ensure that somebody else is not coming to do the same damn thing. Or else, why are you stopping me? What argument can you make for us not getting up today and say, well, why are we going to cut down some trees? Because we have to eat too.
Yeah, no, for sure. We need to pay more attention. And, thanks to stations like yours who bring these things to the forefront. And, it makes a huge difference because so much people now are hearing and so much people could stick their neck out, because it helps for people to stick their neck out and call them out. But again, it go back to how long it takes to investigate, man. How long? This is a monthly thing that I know. Bring it out, bring it to a closure, send a message that we in the BDF will not tolerate this. What we need most, we need an audit of the BDF. And when I say audit, not going in there and say how much harm you buy last year versus hot dog this year. We need an audit of the people in there that's moving around, because constantly you hear, if you do an audit, it's not like, in the old days the BDF used to be about merit. The fittest man move up, the smartest man move up. Now, no, it's the family family man that move up. My uncle or your cousin, and we got a link there, and we support this party. You check it out. Check out the higher ups in the media for party there right now, and compare it to the other people who are qualified who went to Sandhurst, my brother, to study. We need an audit of that. A lot of people have been passed over from their promotion because family members get the promotion, or members of the minister, or members of the colonel, or whoever family get that break. We need an audit of that. That's what we need to bring back morale in the BDS.
All right. Give thanks, my brother. I got to go to break. Yeah, man. Thanks for calling.
Conozcan a Chris, un repartidor que se prepara para comenzar su
All right, welcome back. This is Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes with very limited time. We've spent most of the morning talking about the issues with the story about a bribery that was taking place in the Machakila, which again, as Will called in to really give us a little bit more background to it, that this is something that happened months ago, 6 months in wrong, 6 months ago, when it started to come out, and the commandant was questioned on it, and still there's been a no kind of, let's say, progress made on, final accountability for that. But what also has emerged is the fact that we have to question about the conditions. We're very happy that we were able to very thankful that the President of the Public Service Union called in to kind of shed a bit from his experience and his visits. A very important conversation. Gives us an opportunity that we all have a stake in this, and we can't be neutral. We are guilty at times as being very indifferent about the matters of our national security apparatus. At times we're very critical, and we really speak down and negative, and without having a sense of gratitude. We don't really think that there's something to be grateful of. And I think that is absolutely wrong. We might not have the most sophisticated, the most properly equipped, and we might not have a lot of numbers, but every man and woman that profession has taken up that calling and has taken up that job. Somebody that's taken up a very serious commitment, and we have to respect it and support it as best we can. We will take a final break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up for today.
It's an massive
we are going to wrap up our show for this morning with health and strength. WB returns to at 6:30 Tuesday morning edition of Wake Up Billy's Morning Vibes. We've got to thank the team that makes sure it works, it comes on, it's available. Starting coast downstairs, second floor, Larry G at Creme Radio. At XTV the Group, Mr. Cliff Lewis, and in the control room this morning, Miss Christy Flowers. We hope you have a great start to the week. Have an enjoyable Monday. As always, stand strong, stand firm. For now, we're done!
Wake up, Billies. Another day is here. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies. Wake up.